Hello everyone. So in our today's video, we are going to be discussing about the structure of nephron. Nephron are also called as the uriniferous tubule, and each kidney consists of millions of nephron. Nephrons are actually the structural and the functional units of the kidney. So why are the nephrons known as the structural and functional unit? The kidney consists of millions of nephrons, as I just told. And these nephrons are forming the structure inside the kidney. That is why they are known as the structural units. And the reason why they are known as the functional units is because nephrons are the actual working units inside the kidney, which plays a very important role in the formation of urine. And that is the reason why they are called as the functional units. Now let's take a look at the structure of nephron. Now nephron consists of two parts. One is called as the renal corpuscle and the other part is called as the renal tubule. So we'll see which is the renal corpuscle and which part is the renal tubule now. Okay. So this part, this portion of the nephron is called as the renal corpuscle. Or it is also called as the Malpighian corpuscle. Okay. Then the remaining portion is looking like a tube. So it is called as the renal tubule. So this remaining part of the nephron is called as the renal tubule. Okay. So now let's discuss about the renal corpuscle. The renal corpuscle consists of a cup-shaped structure which is called as the Bowman's capsule. So this cup-shaped structure is called as Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule was named after the discoverer Sir William Bowman. Okay, so inside the cup-shaped structure, which is the Bowman's capsule, inside the Bowman's capsule, there are going to be a dense network of capillaries. So there is going to be a dense network of capillaries and that is known as glomerulus. So what are capillaries? Capillaries are very tiny blood vessels. Okay. So renal corpuscle consists of a cup-shaped structure which is called as the Bowman's capsule. Inside the Bowman's capsule there is a dense network of capillaries and that is known as the glomerulus. So this word glomerulus was derived from Latin and it means a ball of thread. Okay. Now the blood enters into the nephron through the afferent arterioles. So this which you are seeing here, this blood vessel which you are seeing here is called afferent arteriole. And the blood leaves the nephron through the efferent arteriole. So the blood enters into the nephron through the afferent arteriole and it leaves the nephron through the efferent arteriole. Now let's move on to the renal tubule. So the renal tubule consists of the first portion which is coiled and that portion is called as proximal convoluted tubule. So the reason why this portion is called as proximal is because proximal means near. Okay. So this portion is called proximal because it is near to the Bowman's capsule. So it's called proximal. And what is the meaning of convoluted? Convoluted means coiled. You can see this particular portion of the nephron being coiled. So it's called as a proximal convoluted tubule. Then this portion which you are seeing right now is not coiled and it is looking like a hairpin loop or it is looking like U-shaped loop. So this is called loop of Henle. This region is called as the loop of Henle. And then the next portion of the renal tubule is called as the distal convoluted tubule. Distal means away. Okay. So as this region is located away from the Bowman's capsule, it is known as distal convoluted tubule. Okay. And the last portion is called as the collecting duct, or it is also called as the collecting tubule. So now let's take a look at the structure of nephron once again. So nephron consists of two parts. One is the renal corpuscle and the other portion is called as the renal tubule. So the renal corpuscle consists of a cup-shaped structure which is called as the Bowman's capsule, and inside the Bowman's capsule there is a network of capillaries which are called as glomerulus. Okay, so this dense network of capillaries are called as glomerulus, which means a ball of thread in Latin. Now through the afferent arteriole the blood will enter into the nephron, and through the efferent arteriole the blood will leave out of the nephron. Now talking about the renal tubule, the first portion of the renal tubule is called as the proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal means near. As this part of the tube is near to the Bowman's capsule, it's called proximal convoluted tubule. Then we have an uncoiled region, uncoiled portion, and then this portion is looking like a hairpin loop, or it is looking like a U-shaped loop. So this part is called as the loop of Henle, and then the next region is also coiled again, so it is called distal convoluted tubule. Why is it called distal? Because it is located little away from the Bowman's capsule, so it is called distal convoluted tubule. And then the last portion of the nephron is called as the collecting duct. Okay, so I hope you understood about the structure of nephron clearly. Now let's go on to the process by which the nephron helps in the formation of urine. So there are three steps in the formation of urine. The first one is glomerular filtration. The second step is tubular reabsorption. And then the third step is tubular secretion. Now let's see what happens during each of this step in detail. So the first step in the process of formation of urine is glomerular filtration. So glomerular filtration takes place in the renal corpuscle. Okay, so the first part of the nephron, you know that, right? It is the renal corpuscle. So the glomerular filtration will take place in the renal corpuscle. So here what is going to happen is the blood will enter into the nephron through the afferent arteriole, and with the help of the capillaries which are present in the glomerulus, the blood will get completely filtered. Okay, so what is going to get filtered here? Both the essential substances or as well as the non-essential substances which are present in the blood are going to be completely filtered. Okay, now the capillaries which are present in the glomerulus do not have the ability to filter the blood cells and the proteins which are present in the blood. So the blood cells and the proteins will not be filtered, but apart from that, the other essential as well as the non-essential substances which are there in the blood will get filtered, and the resultant filtrate is called as glomerular filtrate. Okay, so the resultant filtrate is called as the glomerular filtrate. So this glomerular filtrate consists both the essential substances as well as the non-essential substances. Okay, now I hope you understood what is the work of the glomerulus. The work of glomerulus is to filter the blood. Alright. Now then from the glomerulus, the glomerular filtrate will go into the Bowman's capsule. Now from the Bowman's capsule, the filtrate will then enter into the renal tubule. So in the renal tubule, what is going to happen is the second step. What is the second step? Tubular reabsorption. So the second step will take place. So in the renal tubule, all the essential substances are going to get reabsorbed and the non-essential substances are going to get secreted. What is the meaning of secreted? secreted means discharged. Okay, so all the essential substances are going to get reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule, renal loop of Henle, and then the distal convoluted tubule. About 15% of total reabsorption takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule itself. Okay, so 15% of the total reabsorption will take place in the proximal convoluted tubule itself. So what and all are going to get reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule? Glucose, amino acids, electrolytes, water, vitamins. All of this will get reabsorbed, and then in the loop of Henle, this is the loop of Henle, right? In the loop of Henle, reabsorption of more water will take place. So reabsorption of more amount of water is going to take place. Now in the entire glomerular filtrate, 99% of the glomerular filtrate will get reabsorbed back into the blood circulation, and the remaining 1% of the glomerular filtrate is only going to be excreted out as the urine. Okay, so 99% of the glomerular filtrate are going to be taken back, because most of the substances are the essential substances and only 1% of the remaining products are going to be the waste. Okay, so from the glomerular filtrate, 99% gets reabsorbed, which is the essential substances, and the remaining 1% will be going to be eliminated out in the form of urine. And what are the 99% which is going to get reabsorbed? It is going to be the glucose, amino acids, electrolytes, water, and vitamins. Okay, and the remaining waste or the excretory products will be excreted. So in the distal convoluted tubule also, some amount of substances like water all will get reabsorbed. Sodium also is very important, which will get reabsorbed back into the circulation from the glomerular filtrate, and then remaining the waste, which is hydrogen ions, potassium ions, and the urea, all of that will get secreted. What is the meaning of secretion? Secretion means they are going to be discharged. That is only called as secretion. So the third step happens here. It is going to get discharged. Why should hydrogen ions be eliminated? I told you already in the previous lecture that hydrogen ions, if they are present in the blood, it will increase the acidity of the blood. Okay, so when the blood becomes acidic, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood will decrease. So in order to maintain homeostasis, internal stability inside the body, hydrogen ions are supposed to be excreted. Okay, so hydrogen ions, then nitrogenous waste, potassium, all of that will be secreted into the collecting duct as the urine. Okay, so the final product which is going to come out after complete filtration is what is called as the urine, and that will take place in the collecting this portion, and it is called as tubular secretion. Okay, now let's take a look at the process of urine formation once again. So there are 3 steps in the process of urine formation: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and then tubular secretion. So the glomerular filtration takes place in the glomerulus of the renal corpuscle. So how is the filtration taking place? It is with the help of the capillaries which are present in the glomerulus. So the capillaries will filter. So actually what type of filtration is going to happen here is ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration meaning everything, very fine filtrate. Everything is going to get filtrate. But I told you in the blood, WBCs, the blood cells cannot be filtered, and the proteins which are there in the blood cannot be filtered by the capillaries, but the remaining substance, both the essential as well as the non-essential substances, can be filtered by the capillaries, and the resultant product which is coming out is called as the glomerular filtrate. Okay, and in the glomerular filtrate, what happens is 99% of the glomerular filtrate is reabsorbed, because it is going to be the, it is going to be the essential substances, and the remaining 1% is going to be excreted out in the form of urine. So the glomerular filtrate will enter into the Bowman's capsule, and it will go into the renal tubule. So in the renal tubule, essential substances like glucose, amino acids, electrolytes, water, vitamins, all of this are going to get reabsorbed. And then again in the loop of Henle also reabsorption will continue. Again in the distal convoluted tubule also the reabsorption is going to be continued. And then finally in the distal convoluted tubule, hydrogen ions and potassium ions and the nitrogenous waste will get secreted. Secreted meaning it is going to be discharged. It will be discharged into the collecting duct where it is going to be coming out as urine. Okay, so this is the process of formation of urine. So I hope you understood this very clearly. Alright, so from the collecting duct, where is the urine going to go? From the collecting duct, it will go to the renal pelvis. So I hope you all remember what is renal pelvis. Renal pelvis is nothing but the upper enlarged part of the ureter is only called as the renal pelvis. Then from the renal pelvis it will go into the ureter. Then from the ureter into the bladder. Then from the bladder through the urethra, the urine is going to get expelled out of the body. So this is about the structure of nephron and the process of formation of urine. Thank you.